The Volvo goes down to Manny's job, he leaves, and somebody crashes into it. It's Monday morning. I'm in the yard. I'm gonna get on top of this day before it gets on top of me. At the refurbishment project, the main build job that we got going at the moment, we've been talking for a while about the pool house. We have a rendered walkthrough where the client can see exactly what they will be getting. We have a quotation prepared which will accompany this 3D walkthrough. Now this is not final. The client can still change parts of it, but we had to create this to show them roughly what they would be getting. So whether the colors change or whether the layouts change slightly, this gives them an indication of what they get for their money. You'll see behind me the decorative slate. I can't work out if this is the blue one or the plum one, because for me they look very similar. Now, truth be told, it's not moving out the gate as fast as I would have hoped, because I would have hoped to have sell it all by now, which was somewhat unrealistic. If you aim for the moon, you might get the clouds. I'm thinking about the best way to move it forward rather than just trying to utilize the existing customers. And something I haven't done in a very long time, and I mean a very, very long time, is any Google AdWords. And I hate Google AdWords. But this is a completely different line, and there'll be a lot of domestic clients who will be serving directly. So if I can create an enticing little advert with a link directly to the e-commerce website page on aggregatesupplier.com, hopefully we can get a high conversion rate. And the last bit of thinking that I had over the weekend was about our plan to supply locomotives which come into the yard with red diesel. Now, a very long time ago, we had an inspection from HMRC. We have the approval and we can store red diesel in the yard. We're going to offer this option to all the freight providers. We were going to do it previously, but it didn't work because the tank that we had was far too small. Class 66 locomotives, they've either got a tank of 5,150 litres or around 6,000 litres. So the tank we had is about 1,200. So it doesn't really make any sense. But we're going to order a larger tank, possibly in the region, I was going to do 20,000 litres, but I don't think 20,000 litres will work, because to get the fuel at a good price, they're going to have to do Arctic tanker deliveries and give us a full lorry. So we may well have to buy a tank in excess of 30,000 litres to give us some leeway. Then we can get the price down. Then we can hopefully be competitive with the freight operators, because the only other place that they've got to refuel is in Acton, which is miles away. So if we can offer an option here, even if we're a couple of pennies out, they may save having to run the locomotive from this area all the way down to Acton and then come back. That's the plan anyway. We plan to sell more bulk bags, so we're replenishing our existing supply. It comes via pallet delivery, but our forklift is broken down at the moment, so we're using the high-ab crane to offload. Terry upped his game, and then he had a shirt and a chinos. But when I brought the blazer out...
It's a race to a three-piece suit.
You know when you're happy for someone, but you're slightly envious? We were gassing together, but then Terry felt like with the blazer, I was gassing on him. But no, we're definitely gassing together. Look how smart Terry looks. Look how smart he looks. Don't he look smart? See? Shirt. It's more befitting of your station, Tel.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, I'll see you in a bit. I've got to catch a train to Liverpool, but Ben delivered an 8-ton machine.
Do a new pair of boots, or have you cleaned them?
No, it's a new pair.
Anywhere here?
Yeah.
After Ben dropped off the 8-ton machine, he collected a 1.5-ton machine. Unfortunately, the machine has significant damage on it.
Just had this machine come off hire, and it's come back with nearly every panel's bent. We're just assessing it, taking some pictures, and then going to price it up and see what we can do. So our normal procedure is basically take the pictures of the damage, send them on to the client with a price for the repair it. If we can save the client money, we'll save the client money, but if not, we'll send the bill on to them. But this one, it's going to take some time to look through it and see what other damage is on the machine.
It's a difficult position to be in, but there's not really a lot of places we can go with this, as it was a brand new machine and it's not acceptable, but it's a good client and we don't want to fall out with them, but at the same time, that's not reasonable wear and tear. The plot thickens. My townie is off at the moment, so we can't actually fully examine the damage on it. So what I think we should do is put it on the back of a flatbed at our own cost and take it down to B&W Plant Hire in Southampton, who were part of the Fox Group. They're the closest plant operator to us, and ask their fitter if he'll take a look around it. And then we can have an accurate costing for repairing it from a fitter and possibly get the work done, and we get our machine back up to scratch where it needs to be. So the next time we put it out, we can say to people, look, we've given you a good machine, look after it the way it was looked after previously and give it back the way it was given to you. With obviously like reasonable wear and tear. Had meetings this morning with possible finance partners. And what I mean by that is finance companies who go on the journey with you, who provide a facility. Every single time we want another lorry, or we want a batch plant, or we want to put up a workshop, we don't want to go to a separate lender. We want to be with one lender, and we take our invoice finance facility. So you have all our debtors, creditors, you have the full information of the business, you have full oversight. This is our business plan, and this is our schedule of trucks which are going to be coming, whether that's 12, 20, whether it's 25. And will you come on the journey with us? So we have one lender and offer us a facility and say, look, there's 6 million quid assigned to you. As long as you have 10% deposit of whatever it is, we'll fund the rest of it, because we can see it works and we can see the numbers work and we can see the long-term plan for the business. So we had a little fashion parade earlier with 2 separate lenders who are both, how we doing, George? Who are both top tier lenders, and we're going to see what both of them have got to say, because they both approach it in different ways. And while you're thinking about getting the money, it's not as simple as getting the money. You've got to think about who it's easy to work with and who it's easier to report to. Because to the person who much is given, much is expected. You're not just going to take the money and just say, all right, cool, I'll let you know when you get it back. You have to do reporting on a monthly basis. Who has got a portal which works best? How much time are our staff going to have to spend interacting with them? How intuitive is the system? So it's not just as simple as just who's going to give the money and who's got the best interest rate. You need to look at long-term operationally, how it's going to work, how you draw down, and once you've paid back, does the interest rate change? How far is it above base? Is there a fixed period? Is there not? But the good thing is we are in the right room with everyone, and they have seen our financials, and they will offer something. It's just what that is. Is it as much as we need? Is it not enough, or do we need to split it? I don't want to split the invoice financing with the asset funding facility, but I may have to do it. But I'd rather keep it together. Another plant hire machine came back off hire, and this one had a hydraulic hose which was leaking. So we brought a company in which took off the old one. They made another one which matched exactly, and this was fitted back onto the machine. We've tested it and it's working well, ready to go back out on hire. How are we, Ian?
Not so bad, yourself.
So we put out a machine on hire to a client of ours, and this 1.5 ton machine come back, Ian, and it's taken a beating. If I put that on a flatbed and drop it into B&W, is there any way that you can get your fitter to have a look around and see what he thinks it will take to fix it?
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks, mate. I'm on the train to Liverpool, working away on the laptop. I got Wi-Fi, nice, and the train is running on time. And we all know that I am into trains. Another thing I'm into is lorries. I'm not having any luck. Our brand new Volvo, which arrived on Saturday, Volvo came out to have a look at it. They couldn't fix it. It's brand new, it hasn't done a day's work, and now it's in Volvo, and they're dismantling the dashboard because I think there's a problem with the heating system. Also, Ashville Construction, the Crafter van, our newest in the fleet, we have to keep putting coolant in it once a week. So we put it into Volkswagen. It's the right thing to do. Volkswagen have been looking over it, and they have decided that there's nothing wrong with it and we should come and collect it. And we said, no,
it's losing coolant, you need to find a leak so we can repair it and we're going to pay you to do it. And they're saying, no, come and get it. The boys called me and go, what do we do if we drive this and it goes on the motorway? And then all of a sudden we cook the engine. And I said, well, whoever's driving it is obviously going to get the blame because you're responsible for the vehicle. And if a warning pops up on the dash that you need to put water or coolant into it, then you should do that. So the only thing we can really do in this case is take it out of one Volkswagen dealership and drive it straight into another and hope that they can find a leak. When I was in the yard and I told you about the AdWord campaign we're going to do for the decorative aggregates, I've been thinking about it all day and thinking about the power of a brand. And depending on how big your brand is, determines how much you actually need to spend on advertising or the type of advertising you do. Now, this doesn't apply to all sectors, but let me give you an example. Look at the advertising of something like Red Bull. They're selling you extreme sports. They're selling you a lifestyle, and the drink is a byproduct of that. So McDonald's are selling you happiness and family and everything's great, and the food is a byproduct of that. I don't see Apple advertising on Google AdWords. I don't see Nike, Adidas, because they don't need to. They've created such a big and successful brand that people go to them. You could argue that this is sector specific, and in construction it's not something which you could apply, but it does give you an insight into how having a powerful brand can change what your business needs to do to sell its products. We're not there yet, but we are growing the Ashville brand. And if I do say so myself, the media work for the past few years, it has helped grow the brand to be a trusted brand in the sector. But whether that means that people chase us and we don't need to have anyone in sales or do any AdWords. Now, finally today at Manny's job, we were busy again providing service.
We're delivering a primary type 1. Every time we tip off the material, we are loaded with clean inert. For us, this is the most efficient way to run lorries, to do a delivery and take away waste at the same time. I wish all of our jobs could run like this. I was about to start reviewing the hotel room, but that's a video for the personal channel. All those sorts of reviews and all the journeys I do. That will be it. I got an early start first thing in the morning where I'm jumping in the car and I'm heading to an event where I'll be doing a speech.
Our first speaker today is a presenter, businessman and managing director of Ashville Holdings. A former model, calm down, who turned his childhood obsessions for construction and engineering into a thriving set of businesses. Give a huge BNL welcome to Daniel Ashville.
He had to throw the model thing in there, didn't he? It was a very, 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 very long time ago. I am not from your sector, that's the first thing. But I want to share my story because I believe there are some similarities with service offerings, growing your business, my style of management, and the impact that social media has had on our business.
Did my speaking gig, went really well. There were some other really good speakers there and I learned a lot from them also. I have a meeting at 5 o'clock in Central and then I'm going to the RFG do, and I'm happy to say the project I spoke about, the Central London penthouse project, we got planning permission today. What a result. So I've gone back to the client and let them know, and now hopefully we can start with the detailed pricing of that project.
We've just had this machine come back, so we're going to have a look over it and see what damage is on it. We'll take pictures of it all, and then we'll bill it back to the customer. And there's quite a substantial amount of damage and paintwork missing. Similar to this one that came back yesterday, we're now going to send both of them down to B&W in Southampton to be checked over and make sure that they're still in working order and what the cost is to repair them and put them back into work.
I did you see in your text? What's wrong with the ram?
Oh, it's doing some madness at the top. It's like going gunk, 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 gunk. At first I thought it's just going to be low on hydraulic oil. It's not easy out here, Michael, trying to run a firm.
I think of anybody on these rams side of things.
Yeah, okay,
All right,
let me know. All right, sweet, thanks mate, bye. Got a problem with the tipping ram. I need to check it myself, but the driver checked it. Nathan knows what he's doing, he's a good lad. Immediately when something like that happens with a ram, I think to myself, maybe it's low on hydraulic oil and there's some sort of like airlock in it. When I get into the yard, I'm gonna ask the lads to look at it because the lorry's been parked up. We're not gonna take the risk and put it out on the road. And the train has arrived.
Train arrived late, so I'm not sure we're going to get the whole thing offloaded. It's a shame because we're busy and we need the material. I told you yesterday about the Central London penthouse project. Well, for next Thursday, we've organised a meeting. David's going to go, Sam the architect, Dudek, who would be foreman and in charge on that project. My mate Johnny from Scotland's going to come down as well. He's going to measure. Craig from ECS, he's going to look at the air conditioning. And also, we're going to have a window and bifold specialist there who can measure up. That way we can provide the most accurate costing because the people who are going to supply or do the work or have it made in a factory, those are the ones who are going to be there and take their own measurements. So there can be no margin for error. Speaking of margins for error, the new Volvo, which came last week, it is now out on the road working, thankfully. Just waiting for a delivery of a breaker to fit on the 926 because there's a couple of areas that we want to smash out as quickly as possible. We could put it on a 13-tonner, but it's going to take a bit longer. So the company are going to drop it off and they're going to fit it on for us. We're going to check it works before they leave because you know the problems we had last time with the grapple, which never actually worked on the 926. And then we had to send it back. And finally, very proud of this, our lawyer, Dr. Tunde Okawole, my good friend who you've seen in the past, he's been nominated for an award at the Music Boss Awards, Best Lawyer of the Year. So make sure you vote for my friend and your friend, the people's lawyer, Tunde Okawole.
So at 7:45 Thursday morning, we're getting the breaker fitted to the 926. Gentleman's just here now. He's sort of changed one or two fittings on the machine. We changed them over before Christmas when we were trying to fit the selector grab. So then some of the fittings got changed in order to fit the selector grab, but then it turned out it was the machine that we couldn't fit that on. The breaker's a fairly standard attachment or tool for the machine, but just one or two fittings he needs to change. Here, these pipes that you can see coming down the side, and then we're going to run it up and hopefully all is good to go.
Not in the yard. We're at the refurbishment project. We're preparing for the client meeting on Monday morning. Here, we're gonna have a plastered over LED channel, which an LED fits into, and then a, what do you call the thing on the top of it? The diffuser. And we're gonna have 3 over here. We're gonna show the client exactly what it looks like. We've got 4 spotlights going in this area, but they're the ones which fit into the plasterboard and you plaster over, so they've got no rim. And then we're gonna have 2 light fittings hanging down here. Now the boys are asking me, and rightly so, what is the exact size of the bed? Not the mattress, the bed. If we get our small lamp hanging from the ceiling in the wrong place, we may have to move it by ½ a meter each side, which is gonna be a problem. I can't really ask the client at this stage what bed you're gonna buy because I'm asking them to look at other areas to agree, and the bed just isn't something that's considered this early in the project. Have a look at this area here. I said we're gonna make the entrance bigger because we're gonna build out this wall. I was corrected. We didn't actually make it bigger. We made it bigger for it to be the same size because then the size we made it bigger, we took from building up the wall. Have a look at the render of this area. This is 2.4. We're gonna have to drop this down to 2.3 so we can fit the coffer lighting just above the wardrobe. And in the ensuite here, it's going well. You can see these metal plates everywhere. This is what we're using to hold the laser in place to make sure that we build our walls level, and you can see raised levels for the standalone bath and the shower. So what is it sitting on top of now, the existing window? What? Nothing, it's just sitting on top of the door. Yep. No way!
They even don't go in with the timber.
They didn't even, the timber's not even sitting on the brick pad.
I cannot believe they just put a piece of timber there. It doesn't, there's no support on the sides and this whole thing is rocking.
That's why his bedroom and the kitchen, we added the steel because the whole room was sitting on the window before also, yeah?
We get it all the time.
Why is it taking so long?
Because we're doing a good job. People say,
This house was built really quickly. Why does the refurb take that long?
firstly, because a refurb is more difficult than a new build. With a new build, you have a blank canvas and you can throw it up quickly. And then we see all the secrets and surprises that we find in all of these walls, which is something that we wouldn't have done at the time when we built it. But when you buy the house, you can't see what's going on and nobody knows what the developer did. Me personally, a lot of the things we've seen here, that could never happen on the Ashville watch. Whether I was here or not, the lads would never have it. Dudek wouldn't have it, David wouldn't have it, and nor would Baratush, who's run off again. About 3 weeks ago, everybody saw this and said,
Why does it say David? Why does it say David Ashville? Why doesn't it say Daniel? Is his name David?
David, who works at Ashville, ordered the staircase. Boarded up in this area as well. Told you about this a couple of weeks ago. This is where the door to this room will be. Boom, boom. Take into account the door handle, which will be about here. All your controls. You walk into the room, door closes. Services are all hidden behind the cupboard. You can see we excavated out the screed there to get the pipe nice and flush. The rest of the room is boarded, except for the ceiling, because we just have to finish off with some aircon pipes. But other than that, this room will be good to go with plastering very soon. A couple of weeks back, I showed you the picture of the door, which the client wants to replicate in the property. What we've done is bring an entire door. We wanted to show them the routed profile, but this, you can see the wood grain through it. That's not what they wanted. They wanted a nice lacquered finish like this. So we've got the actual door, show them the router, and then we got the lacquered finish to show them exactly what it will look like. Plenty to do work-wise, plenty to do to prepare for the meeting. I'm heading back to the yard. We're using dot and dab to finish off the boarding in this area. This build-up is 60mm insulation with a 12mm plasterboard. Chris is using 4x2 treated timber to build up the stud partitions in the ensuite bathroom. It was around a year ago when I first spoke to you about our invoice financing facility, which basically means that as soon as you invoice the client, you get paid 85% of it, and then the client pays the invoice financing company directly, and for that you pay the invoice financing company a fee, whether that be 1.5%, 2% of the invoice total. We needed to do it because we have some suppliers who want payment up front and payment after 7 days, and people are paying us on 30, 35, 40, and in some cases 45 days. We are 10 months into the facility and we have outgrown it. We need it doubled. But the company that we're working with at the moment, they didn't do it before, but now they are talking about what the computer says, and apparently the computer says no, as opposed to meeting with us and taking a commercial view. In the past, when everything was in my head and I could just sit there and explain everything, explain the plan passionately, those days are still here. However, now everything is in spreadsheets, there are business plans, there are forecasts, and we show month on month, with the exception of months like December and January, because they're historically slow, and August, because a lot of people go away. You can see the growth of the company month on month. Now, this is tied in with the growth of our fleet, because I said in the video, click here to watch it, when I bought the 5 lorries, I estimate that each tipper is going to generate £50,000 a month in revenue, not profit, revenue. So we are speaking to other invoice financing companies who have an appetite to work with us. So it's a shame that the company we're working with don't want to go on the journey with us, but you know, we're in a fortunate position where plenty of others do. Let's go back to the yard. It's definitely working. Thank goodness it's a 26-ton machine, but guess what? The machine keeps going into limp mode. And can you imagine the new, which isn't new, volumetric, the clutch has gone. The clutch is gone.
But I'm not going to complain, because I don't complain. We're just going to try and get the clutch fixed as soon as possible while we continue breaking out this slab. But we're going to have to stop because Flo is going to jump out of this machine and the train is arriving. But guess what? The train isn't fully loaded. So we haven't got all the material we needed. And the train last night went back with 6 wagons loaded and we didn't get a chance to offload that whole thing either. So yeah, it's just going perfectly. But I'm not going to complain. Back at my desk trying to navigate my way through my emails. And it's almost like, yeah, and I'm still not going to complain. I'm not complaining, I'm smiling. So the new lorry arrived Saturday, broke down, straight into Volvo. Finally comes out and it works. Do you know what happened today? The Volvo goes down to Manny's job, he leaves, and somebody crashes into it. And they damaged the air tank, and then we had to call someone out to fix the air tank. Cyclist rails on the side, the barriers had come off, so then we had to be escorted to their depot where they fitted everything back on. The person who crashed into the truck, we took a couple of pictures and then they jumped in their van and sped off. And now we've been billed for the work on the lorry and the lorry is back on the road, but now we're gonna have to tell our insurance. But I'm not complaining, because for 2024, I'm not complaining. I'm just smiling and persevering. Ah, this is long. It's Friday. We're in the yard. This Volvo volumetric is going to get collected tomorrow and it's going to go down to a workshop in Dartford. We need the clutch repaired on this. We might as well just give it a service and we're going to change some of the brakes. While it's down there and it's in the workshop, somebody's going to pop in and they're going to put one of those new radars in the dashboard. You know, the things you need to go into London. Ashville concrete, mud flaps, the easy sheet needs to be repaired. The spring is in the cab already. So we're just going to get all the bits done we need on it so the lorry can go out and work. We've had a few challenges with getting this lorry out, but hopefully after those bits are done, it should be ready to go.
Oh, it's just happened.
Yeah, it's just happened. Where is it?
Yeah, big stone's gone right in it.
Plug it. No. Yee. Busy on the concrete again today. As the cement delivery is arriving, lorries are waiting to back in and load underneath the silo. So our technician has come over. Time to get that repair done. Saturday morning, I'm not in the yard. I'm at the refurbishment project again. This is the van I spoke about the other day, and this van has a coolant leak. Volkswagen said it doesn't. We know it does. So we've booked it into another Volkswagen, but they can't take it for a month. We're just gonna park it up and leave it here because if it goes out on the road and we end up cooking the engine, Volkswagen won't be paying for a new engine. Got a meeting here this morning on home automation. And there's a man standing around the outside the gate hiding. Don't try to hide. Enter, young sir. Look who it is. He's back.
Yep.
Consulting on home automation. We're gonna get him kitted up, high vis, hard hat, and the meeting will start. Before we step inside, this is the area outside where we started the work earlier in the week. So we've cut this timber. We've built ourselves a pad here. The steel will sit here. And the steel will sit here. This timber will be gone. This window is getting changed on Tuesday. So when they remove the window, we remove the timber, steel sits here, the new window will then sit on top of that. On the outside here, these acros are holding the weight. So we've just built this up, just to support and ensure while we're waiting that temporarily we are structurally sound. However, the front door won't be chosen for a very long time because it will be a very nice one and we don't want to damage it with any of our work and going in and out with tools and materials.
Low voltage control, and then you also run T&E for power. How long did it take? Absolutely.
In the cinema area, we are trying to work out whether we can have the second row of seating raised. Because the ceiling height is so low here, and we have to build everything out and down for the coffer lighting, for the speakers. If we have a second row of seating which is raised, the distance of the projector to the screen, the person sitting in the second row, if they're sitting upright, the projector might be hitting the back of their head, or the projector isn't far away enough. So what do you want, DWG or CAD, or what do you want?
DWG would be great, then you can put it in.
David, you got that?
We can put it we can put it in Vectorworks, and then we can place the projector almost, and then you can see.
No. We can't place it. You can. We're going to have an acoustic screen with the speakers behind it.
Yeah.
The screen as big as possible.
Well, that's going to be determined on where we put the projector. But
my understanding is
as big as possible.
No, the client does.
Right.
That's what he said. He said, I want it as big as possible. And he has seen the Basement Salvage cinema video.
Yeah.
Click here to watch that video. And he said he likes that.
That size.
Obviously, the colour's different,
Yeah.
but yeah. There's going to be a cupboard here, housing everything in the basement. There's going to be a lighting panel on the wall. The lighting panel you saw in the home automation video. And then all the AV equipment will sit here. This is the recess where we are going to fit the blinds or curtains. So when you step back, it looks like it's hidden within the ceiling, and it means the client doesn't need to make the decision now, and they can wait till they decide on the decor and finishes, and then they can decide what they want to go with depending on the design genre that they want. At the moment, the design of the house is it's a mix. It's a mix of very classy, traditional, but there's a bit of a feeling of minimalist and modern at the same time. So it's about trying to blend both of those together with symmetry. Oh, he thinks he's an interior designer now. Look at him go. Site meeting is nearly over. Wilson's just walking around with vanity. It's always nice to see Wilson.
Likewise. See you soon.
Working on a weekend like usual. Way off in the deep end like usual. I've got a couple more hours in the yard. Later tonight I'm heading to the boxing. Dan Aziz, who you've seen in the past, myself and Dr. Tunde Okawole are going to watch Dan defend his British and Commonwealth titles. We're hoping for a good fight. We also know Buatsi. We want both the guys to put on a good show and both be safe, no one to get hurt, but we hope the best man wins. Best case if it goes all the way and it's a great fight and then we get a rematch out of it, but we'll see what happens. Some of my love of the sport of boxing will be on my new personal channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to my personal channel. There's not a lot on it yet, but we're just getting the subscribers up and we're preparing the content, and there will be content on it. So if you've got a minute, please go and subscribe to the personal channel, Daniel Ashville Official. The mud, the weather, really bothers me. Mark my words, one day I will have a fully concreted yard that you can eat your dinner off the floor. We have a job starting early next week where in 2 days we need to deliver 80 bags of shingle, and the lads have prepared them. Very good. Saturday evening, we're in the car. I'm back.
In matching outfits.
I've got a question for Tunde that I haven't had a chance to ask him because he's been so busy with case after case and he's been working on great things. In all sectors, Tunde has been pushing forward, but not the most significant, but one of. You already had a
MBE,
and now you've been awarded with a
OBE in the King's New Year's Honours list.
Okay, what's the difference?
The OBE is higher ranking, so OBE is Order of the British Empire, MBE is Member of the British Empire, and there's a hierarchy. So after OBE, there's CBE, and after CBE, there's KBE or DBE, which is when you receive a knighthood. I got mine for services to the criminal justice system and social mobility, So for the work I do as a barrister and the work I do with my charity Urban Lawyers, link in the description, follow us on social media and have a look at some of the projects that Daniel briefly alluded to.
Now you've got the new one, do you have to give back the old one?
No, I've got both medals. So if, for example, there's like a black tie event and you're allowed to wear ceremonial medals, I can have the 2 medals. So it's in the same way that people that work in the military or armed forces have medals and regalia. It's the same way that you accumulate the medals and you get to wear them for decorative purposes.
Did you just get an email or like...
Someone nominates you.
Okay.
And once you're nominated, you get notification that you've been put forward, and then you have to decide whether you accept it or not.
You have to decide if you accept it?
Yeah. What happens is that they let you know that your name is going to be put forward. If you don't want that to happen, then you tell them and then you don't get it. If you do agree, then you confirm and then you get it.
Are you going to the palace?
Yes. Okay. So I'm going in a few weeks.
Can I come?
No.
All right.
Sorry, but we can have a party afterwards, an after party. I've limited numbers, like mum and dad, sorry.
Are mum and dad going?
Yeah.
Boy, what an honour to have a friend and somebody so close to me to be honoured in that way. Now, we're hoping that Dan can do the business. What do we think? Predictions, Tunde. Predictions.
Obviously, we've got a bias towards Dan, so we'll be rooting for him. But I kind of feel sometimes predictions jinx things. And I don't want people to turn around and say, oh my God, you said this 12 minutes, 53 seconds into the video and it didn't happen. So people kind of tend to rely on my word. So if I'm going to put it out there in the universe.
That was a very lawyer way to answer the question.
Yeah.
We're going to watch some of the warm-up fights before because we are boxing purists. We actually go to the boxing and watch the boxing and we sit there like pundits whispering to each other, look at the left is low, he's bouncing too much, I think he's getting tired, he took a shot, I think his legs are gone. People say, oh, what do you like to do in your spare time? I go, oh, I like to go gym. They go, well, that's not free time. I genuinely love to go to boxing events and sit as close as I can to the ring.
Even if it means stealing other people's seats.
I did not steal your...
That's how I met Daniel. Like, he stole my seat at a boxing match. I think it was like the Dillian White Chisora fight.
Tunde's version of events is that I stole his seat, but there was a group of people and the seats got muddled and I happened to sit in a seat which, when I arrived at the venue, my ticket didn't have the same reference as the seat. But you know, these things happen. And look, a beautiful friendship blossomed out of it. So there you go.
Listen, don't commit criminal offences. You know, don't steal seats. It might not work out for you the same way.
And that's it for Ashville Weekly, episode 174.